All right, we taught you how to create and buy on OpenSea. So you're all set on that department, but we need to talk about the new kid on the block who's rapidly increasing, and that's Solana. So we're going to talk about Solana and Solana-based projects coming right up.
What's up, family? We are so excited to be with you again, and I am so pumped to talk more about Solana. We have KJ from Sigh Duck, who you may remember from several episodes ago when we answered the pressing question, what is Solana? But today we're going to be digging more into the projects in Solana and how you can get involved if you are a creative and want to know what's going on with this whole Solana game. So KJ, thanks so much for jumping on again. I'll open up with this question. Remind us again why we might decide to build a project on a Solana blockchain versus maybe Ethereum.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for having me back. Excited to chat with you again. So the key thing that we discussed in our last episode is obviously Solana just gaining a lot of traction. It's much more affordable than something like Ethereum, where Ethereum is about 4,000 US dollars and Solana currently, I believe, is around 160. So just from an affordability standpoint, transaction speeds are significantly faster than Ethereum, about 65,000 per second or so. So super fast, not any really gas fees. So those are all some great reasons to begin. And Solana, although it's pretty new, it's still rapidly growing. So I believe it started towards the end of 2018. At the beginning of the year, Solana coin was like $2, and now it's, as I mentioned, it's gained a lot of momentum.
I'm looking at the graph right now. It's like weight loss. Like if you weigh yourself every day, like it like sometimes it's up and down, up and down. But if the trend is going down, that's a good thing. And this trend is going up, which is obviously a good thing. I do want to mention, KJ, I saw a thread yesterday on Twitter about Solana, and it's a question I think many of us will have really quick, which is, the efficiency of it, not having the gas fees incurred. I believe there is a vulnerability associated with that sometimes, and that is like some people are weary of the security. So it's speed, and not necessarily it's very vulnerable, but it's not as vulnerable as maybe Ethereum or something like that. Is there any truth to that, or like what should people consider when they're looking at Solana base and looking at the affordability and efficiency?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So every blockchain is dealing with the trilemma. So the 3 points of that trilemma are typically decentralization, scalability, and security. So effectively, it's known that typically any blockchain is picking two of those and sacrificing a little bit of the other one. So obviously, Solana, with its fast transaction speed, it's leaning a little bit more towards the scalability aspect. So that's an important consideration. But for a lot of practical purposes, like that's the most important thing on a day to day. You want your funds to be able to transact quickly. Whereas on Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's taking a lot of time. It's very expensive unless you have a ton of it and you're kind of rich, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the main consideration. But I do believe that Solana is secure enough for the average person.
We've had
Trilemma,
a
Heather.
trilemma.
Have you
yeah.
ever heard that before? I got stressed out. Just like I was like, oh man, we're in a trilemma right now. Somebody help. All right. But yeah, go ahead.
I love that. We've had a lot of creatives reach out and really want to start their own projects. They're so curious about it. And I was wondering, like, from a creative standpoint, trying to get a community launched, and you guys have done so well with being able to sell out your projects and so forth. Was there ever a concern or a learning curve, or what did y'all have to do to kind of, I guess, because learning about NFTs is hard enough, and then they're usually, learning about Ethereum off the bat. How did you kind of, I guess, persuade people to go over to Solana and buy Solana, or was that not even an issue at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Solana is the NFT ecosystem is very new compared to Ethereum. So Ethereum has obviously gained much of its traction this year from large collections like Bored Ape Yacht Club, etc. But Ethereum NFTs have been around for a few years. It just didn't like that mainstream. But Solana is just starting out this year with their NFTs, and so that's like the main thing is big time collectors that have been on Ethereum. They're kind of, for lack of a better word, a little bit maybe snobby, where they're like, oh, this is a new play. I don't know how it works. So, that's kind of what we've observed, where it's like, we have this thing that's working. Why would I want to change? Right. So everyone's going to have their opinion. But again, for us, it's getting new people that can afford the Solana coin. And then more importantly, for me as a developer, Solana just provided a lot of tools for me to leverage my existing developer skills. So I would say
I was going to ask, is it like Anchorman, like with the news wars, like Ethereum Club and then the Solana Club? Like people were just like, is it weird like that? Oh man,
It
you're
is.
nodding.
It is. It's a little bit like that. It is kind of hard to convince a lot of people that have been on Ethereum because all their funds are on Ethereum. Everything's in their
Yeah.
MetaMask, and now they have to use a Solana compatible wallet. So then you have to like manage these different wallets, and so some people they don't like
Mm.
that, especially if you're sitting on Ethereum when it was a few $100. You have enough Ethereum, and you can buy things with that. So that's kind of the nature of the game right now.
Heather, have you seen Anchorman?
No, I haven't. No.
I knew it. KJ, I don't know if you've been listening, but Heather has not seen any good movies ever. Okay.
That is such a lot. Oh my gosh, we've got to focus. Okay. The question I think everybody is asking, like, we've said it on our ads and so forth that you guys were completely able to fill up your whitelist, sell out within like, what do you say, 10 hours, something like that, something completely crazy. What have you guys done right to be able to just kill your project like this?
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny you say 10 hours because oftentimes if you don't sell out within an hour or even a few minutes, it kind of creates a lot of uncertainty amongst holders. So
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's gotten that crazy. So we've seen, other collections sell out, super quick. And I think that because there's so many new collections launching, that's almost like a prerequisite for you to have a post mint secondary market that's multiple x what the mint price was, and that's what a lot of NFT collectors are looking for, unfortunately, even though that just sounds crazy in any other kind of market to 2x, 3x, 5x your money in like minutes, but that's kind of the expectation for a lot of minters.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No pressure, y'all. No pressure.
Yeah, like I have to admit, like the last few projects I've minted didn't sell out. Some of them are still going, and then I'm in the community in the Discord, like, hey, we're doing a free mint. I'm like, what do you mean free mint? Like more? Like, because I got a couple, and then I got some at the mint price, and then the mint price, the floor price is now way below the mint price, and obviously they have to try and make it up to holders, but that's rough. So like, what kind of conversations happen on the team then? Like, you can't say like we're gonna scrap the project, right? Like how hard is that to be like, look, we're gonna have to go from point whatever sold to this sold in order to sell out? Or do you guys have those considerations?
Yeah, and it was tough. So I should also add a little bit of color. So when we launched, it was just really bad timing. So that's when Solana was close to its peak. So obviously there's an inverse. So if Solana is more expensive, then people typically are transferring money in fiat, right? So that was one thing that plagued us a little bit in terms of our momentum. And then the other issue at that time was there was a lot of scams happening during that period. So some of the people in our community were like, we were going to mint, but I just got scammed literally yesterday and I don't have any money left. And so it was really unfortunate. So I think that definitely impacted our launch. But to answer your question, it is really tough. So you have to be able to launch when you have a strong enough community. Far too often when we work with other potential NFT communities and launches, they're just very eager to launch. So, you have to spend the time up front to really market, build relationships with other people, really sell your idea. So the one thing that helped us is we had developed a lot of relationships with influencers. So they were happy to tweet and bring more awareness during our launch at certain milestones. But we still sold out the first third of our NFTs like in the first minute. So it was kind of like, literally I clicked refresh, like a third were gone. And then some of the momentum like slowed down because again, what I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are just waiting on the sidelines like, oh, are they going to sell out? If it looks like they're going to sell out, they'll end up minting. And then, it's kind of like a spiral in your favor where, one person ends up minting and then you notice 2/3 are sold out. And then it's like, okay, maybe I'll buy one more, right? So that's kind of the psychology of each potential person that's going to buy into your community, right? Some people want to flip. Some people are happy to hold for the longer term. So it just really depends. And who are you marketing to? What's your niche for your community? So there's so much saturation that you need to have something that is a little bit different from everyone else. So, don't just try to mimic what's been done.
Oh, and by the way, like full transparency, Sigh Duck is a proud partner of NFTs for Newbies. So if you want to get on the whitelist for the upcoming project, then you got to check out the show notes. It's in the Discord. You let them know where you came from and you're going to get the hookup. All right. You're going to get a guaranteed mint price and you can find the details in the show notes. Like I said, however, pre-sale, whitelist, Dutch auction, whatever, like all these things, there's like levels to
White elephant.
Yeah. It's like, what's happening? So what are the differences between some of these and what's the actual strategy behind it, right? Like all these can mean to someone who doesn't know, they're just like, that
Yes.
sounds crazy. I'm just going to wait till it's like on OpenSea. Like literally that's
Yes.
something I would do.
Mhm.
But what are some of the differences in these launch strategies
Yeah,
or those terms?
yeah, for sure. So we did something with our initial launch. So what that collection that we sold out was 777 NFTs, and that was to incentivize our early community. So not only did they get the NFT from that launch, but they're also going to get a free airdrop for this launch. So they actually don't even have to buy in, and that price point that they bought at is significantly lower. So they're getting not only 2 NFTs for the price of one, but they're also, just getting a cheaper price. And so
Did they know that at the beginning, or was that a surprise?
no, we planned for this. And the reason we
Okay.
planned for this is because we knew the state of the market was just not a great time, but we also didn't want to just delay because the market could always get worse, right? So we have our own goals, but we felt more comfortable being able to sell out a smaller collection size. Whereas you see collections that are like 10,000 and, they might sell like a few hundred. And then, as I mentioned, other people are never going to buy in because there's like 9,000 left or, maybe even more. So we didn't want to be one of those. We wanted it to be manageable. So
You knew the people who were going to be holders in the first Sigh Ducks, the original, you knew that eventually they were going to get something else.
right,
And you said that was by design.
right.
But then what are some of these other strategies, I
Yeah.
guess, that I kind of mentioned?
Right. So to keep incentivizing people. So it's like kind of tiers, right? So I am most familiar with this concept when I buy ticket sales for a concert, right? So if you're like super early bird, you get a very discounted and then you show up later. And then, so it's kind of the same kind of model essentially. So for us, our tier one is now not available. We filled all those seats. That was a 50% discount. And now we're doing the 35% discount, which is obviously for your listeners. And that's it. So then it's open to the public and you got to pay retail price. And as you mentioned before, Rich, some people want to wait for the secondary marketplace. So on Ethereum, it's OpenSea. Solana has a few like Magic Eden, Solana, etc. But typically on the secondary market, it's double, triple, quadruple. I recently saw a project called Monkey Kingdom. So they minted for half a Solana, and now the cheapest one is 88 Solana. So you can wait, but it comes down to your risk tolerance, right? So it's also a numbers game. So maybe you mint a few different projects that you feel good about, and maybe one of them is just such a big winner that it makes up for your other losses. It just really depends on your confidence and your kind of risk level.
All right, I want no man or woman left behind.
Sure.
Let's define some of this real quick. Whitelist, can you give me a definition of that? And I've never heard of this Dutch business that Rich is talking about. Okay, Mr.
That, like, a lot of people have done it. I just don't know what it means.
Okay, I'm a newbie here. Okay, newbie. NFTs for newbies. If you could, KJ, define Whitelist. What is that? And then this Dutch situation.
I've not heard about that Dutch situation. I'm wondering if that's it.
I'm looking up right now.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna look it
Not
up.
heard that. But for whitelist, so basically how it works, so similar, to how I mentioned, like, there's tiers to the early bird. But whitelist just means people's wallets are verified in advance, so only those people are able to purchase.
I kind of picture people out at a club and you're like, hey, I'm on the whitelist.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
Same kind of concept. And you're just kind of verifying yourself in advance. So for example, in our Discord, we have a special group for all the whitelist people. And then when we're ready to actually make that available to mint, then we'll just collect, wallet addresses and then continue on providing them with the NFT.
All right, guys, I'm going to read you real quick. We're going to learn together. The Dutch auction is a bidding technique that considers all bids for a given asset before arriving at a ceiling price, which gradually drops at specific time intervals. My head hurts. So we'll just leave that there. Someone else can explain Dutch auctions. I know what a Dutch oven is, but I don't know what a Dutch auction is.
Okay.
So this is something that's new. So Heather and I are we're going to make NFTs. We're going to create NFTs. But you're saying you have to mint off-site, essentially. Like, that's the way to do it. Like, American Airlines is going to reward you more if you buy on their website than if you go through Expedia. They don't care. They're happy if you go through Expedia, but if you go through them, you're going to get more perks. So you're saying mint on your own website. And if I want to incentivize you, KJ, to buy Heather doing the stanky leg or something, that's what she wants to do. That's her idea.
Dude, it would fly.
Then
people would love
you
that.
would simply go to the website, and on the day of minting or whatever, you connect your wallet, it's verified, and then you could get that really cheap price.
Yes.
Have that right?
Yep, list price, essentially. Mm-hmm. So, and the other thing that I just want to, mention to your listeners is to always use what's called like a burner wallet, because you don't really always know who's on the other side, right? Everything might sound great. So don't connect your like main wallet with all your money. So on Solana, it's really quick to just create a new wallet. It's literally a click of a button, transfer just enough so that you can mint whatever quantity you want and proceed, because we've heard some really terrible stories about people's wallets.
Heather, are you laughing because there's
I
zeros?
just love whenever there's like some knowledge dropped, Rich's face. It's just like you get like this weird like
No,
like,
because a burner wallet. Number one, I thought of Walt White from Breaking Bad because he had a burner phone, and I just whatever.
God.
Then I was thinking a burner wallet. Like it would just be funny if Heather, if we were gonna, connect our wallet to buy into Gen Zero or something like that. I don't think we'd be at that much risk because there ain't a lot of money in there. KJ would probably laugh if he saw it. He'd just be like, "Oh, how are they even gonna afford this?" That's why I thought you were laughing.
KJ, where can people connect with you guys? And we mentioned that in our show notes. What can people expect there?
Yeah, definitely. So check us out at sigducks.com. So that's SIGH ducks.com, and links to our Twitter, our Discord. So definitely come check us out there. Would love to interact with all your folks. And our launch is at the end of this month. It's scheduled for December 30th. So if you're interested, definitely participate in that. And if you're also interested, we have our Sigh Ducks PX77 NFTs that are already available on the secondary market. And Rich, those are above the mint price. So one thing I will just flex about real quick.
Good.
And,
Well,
and again,
I'll be all in on Gen Zero, especially since newbies and our listeners get a hookup there. So pay
yeah,
attention.
you have to
What
join
were
the
you saying?
Discord and mention the show to get that price,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So that's
Just mention NFTs for newbies, and you will get that 35% discount.
Perfect.
Well,
okay.
we got Rich.
We are here at the end, and that means a random question, and I have it for you, KJ. And then Heather, I want to answer for you, and you should answer for me for this question.
Okay.
Yep, here we go. If you were designing your own fragrance to represent you, what would you call it, KJ?
Breath of fresh air.
Oh,
okay.
That's smooth.
This is going to sound nasty after this one, because I would say that Rich would do like Crunchy Walter.
Crunchy Walter?
Yes. It's crunchy Cheetos mixed with Walter White. It's like the best of both worlds. It's kind of rugged.
Dirty diaper for you.
What the hell?
I don't know. It was the first thing that came to mind. I don't know.
The first thing that came to your mind was a dirty diaper. KJ,
all
awesome.
Right, well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. KJ, thanks for coming on again. You guys know the deal about Sol and some of the projects based out there now and how to approach it. So we will see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.